What if the greatest minds in psychology have been uncovering the true dynamics of attraction for over a century? While millions of women keep searching for love through patterns that silently erode their dignity, wondering why relationships feel like emotional battlefields, there exists a rare circle of women who seem to effortlessly command devotion, respect, and genuine desire from men. They don't chase, they attract. They don't beg, they choose. They don't settle, they inspire. And the difference, it's not beauty. It's not wealth. It's not luck. It's understanding. Inspired by Carl Jung's groundbreaking insights into the male psyche, we can now identify 9 deeply rooted psychological patterns that govern masculine desire on its most primal level. These are not tactics for manipulation. They are the raw psychological codes that determine whether a man sees you as unforgettable or entirely forgettable. Whether he sees you as someone to treasure or someone easily replaced. What you're about to discover has the power to radically shift how you see yourself, how you navigate your relationships, and how you access your authentic, magnetic presence as a woman. This isn't about changing who you are. It's about awakening what's already within you beneath layers of social conditioning. Because somewhere along the way, we forgot something essential. Feminine power is not earned through desperation. It's claimed through deep, conscious understanding. For decades, women have been told to be more available, more accommodating, more understanding. And yet, the women who seem to effortlessly attract and sustain deep, passionate relationships, they often operate by an entirely different code. They understand something most were never taught, that real attraction isn't born from submission or constant availability. It's built through conscious presence and unwavering self-worth. The 9 patterns you're about to hear aren't outdated theories pulled from dusty psychology books. They're living principles consistently demonstrated by some of the most magnetic women in history. Before you judge what makes a man vulnerable, stay to the end and see what makes you powerful. Subscribe to explore the truths most never speak. They've been validated by modern psychological research, and they've been proven to spark the kind of deep, lasting desire that transforms relationships from ordinary to unforgettable. Pattern 1. The validation gateway. Have you ever noticed how men can spend hours posting about their achievements on social media? That behavior reveals something deeper, a hardwired need for recognition and admiration. Whether shaped by biology or society, most men are instinctively drawn to seek validation. Every like, every compliment, every nod of approval triggers the brain's pleasure centers. Understanding this gives you a unique opportunity to respond consciously to meet emotional needs without losing your center. Here's where 95% of women get it wrong. They offer validation freely, like water from an always running tap. They like every post. They praise every accomplishment. They pour affirmation, hoping for something in return. But here's what's often missed. Too much validation dulls the impact. His brain adjusts to the constant praise. It stops working for your attention, because it already feels guaranteed. And once you become predictable, you become forgettable. Men don't fall deeply for what they can always predict. They're drawn to what feels just slightly out of reach. Think of it like this. Imagine having unlimited access to your favorite dessert. At first, it's thrilling. But over time, the constant availability makes it lose its magic. The same thing happens with emotional validation. When it's always there, it fades into the background, no longer felt, no longer meaningful. The conscious approach: curate the emotional experience he craves, but on your terms, instead of instantly reacting to every post or update. Allow anticipation to build. Instead of rushing to celebrate every small win, pause. Respond thoughtfully. Say something like, "That's fascinating." Then gracefully guide the conversation elsewhere. This creates a psychological effect known as intermittent reinforcement, the same principle that makes certain memories and experiences feel unforgettable. A sincere, "You're remarkable" from you, when rare and honest, holds far more weight than a dozen shallow comments from others. It's the same psychological principle that makes certain life experiences feel unforgettable. A sincere, "You're remarkable" coming from you becomes far more powerful than a flood of compliments from countless others. The secret lies not in the words, but in the timing and sincerity behind them. For a woman deeply anchored in her self-worth, this isn't about manipulation. It's about practicing conscious appreciation. You're choosing to offer recognition only when it's been truly earned. That makes your admiration not just rare, but priceless, because it comes from someone who never gives it away lightly. But there's another deeper layer to this approach. By reserving your praise, you're also protecting your own emotional energy. When you're constantly validating others, you begin to drain your own emotional reserves. But when you become intentional, when you offer appreciation selectively, you stay centered within yourself. And in doing so, your recognition becomes far more impactful when you do choose to give it. Here's what that looks like in practice. Pause before you respond. Observe the situation. Notice what genuinely moves you versus what he's doing simply to seek attention or validation. When he achieves something meaningful or shows real character growth, respond with honesty. But when it's clear he's just fishing for compliments, either stay neutral or gently shift the conversation. This isn't being cold. It's discernment. Pattern 2. The mystery principle. This next pattern moves beneath the surface, quietly shaping desire through uncertainty, because nothing extinguishes passion faster than complete predictability. Whether through biology or conditioning, masculine interest tends to fade when everything becomes expected. Your responses, your availability, your behavior. So why do men often feel fascinated by women who seem just slightly out of reach? It's not some hidden desire for suffering, it's psychological momentum. The masculine mind, whether shaped by nature or nurture, is irresistibly drawn to what it can't fully predict or control. Yet many women unknowingly flatten emotional depth by making themselves overly available far too soon. They respond immediately. They plan routine dates. They share every little detail of their lives. They've been taught that transparency builds trust, but excessive predictability can drain romantic energy right out of the room. Think of it like a favorite song. When played once a week, it keeps its magic, but played every hour, it becomes background noise. Your presence in a man's life follows the same psychological rhythm. So how do you apply this practically? Start by varying the rhythm of your communication. If you normally reply within minutes, try taking a few hours occasionally with no explanation. If you usually plan traditional dates, surprise him with something different and unexpected. Next, practice selective disclosure. Don't share everything the moment it happens. If he asks how your day was, consider responding with something like, "I had an intriguing day," and then gracefully shift to another subject. Those small gaps spark curiosity. They allow his imagination to wander, and that imagination begins to work in your favor. Finally, embrace strategic unavailability. At times, allow yourself to be genuinely unreachable. Then when you reconnect, do so with warmth, but without explanation. That bit of uncertainty around your time and attention creates just enough tension to keep him engaged. But the goal here is balance, not total unpredictability that leads to chaos, not complete predictability that leads to boredom. You want to create that emotional space between "I know she cares" and "I wonder what she'll do next." Here's the psychology behind it. The human brain is wired to notice and respond to variation. Repetition blends into background noise, but thoughtful changes in pattern trigger renewed attention. By varying how and when you engage, you sustain his psychological focus. But it goes deeper than just keeping him interested. Mystery also safeguards your inner world. When you share everything instantly, you don't give yourself time to fully process your own experiences. Keeping some space for yourself allows you to reflect, feel, and understand. So when you do choose to share, it's more grounded and meaningful. And importantly, this isn't about playing games. It's about living a rich, full life. Your own passions, your own commitments, your own friendships. This natural fullness is what creates the kind of presence that feels compelling without ever being performative. You're not withholding to manipulate. You're simply sharing from a place of wholeness, not emptiness. Pattern 3. The emotional mirror. This next technique is quiet but incredibly powerful. It involves reflecting a man's emotional state with stunning precision, and it creates a moment where he feels truly seen. Studies show that when someone accurately identifies what you're feeling before you even say it, the brain releases powerful bonding chemicals. But most women, when facing a man who seems withdrawn or upset, fall into two common traps. They either ignore it, hoping it'll pass, or they immediately jump in to fix it. You're going to do something different. You'll become his emotional mirror. Instead of asking, "What's wrong?" like everyone else you observe, you read his body language. You listen to his tone. You notice the subtle tension in his face. Then you gently reflect what you perceive. For example, it seems like you're feeling frustrated, maybe because you're not being understood in what you're trying to accomplish. Oh, yerps. His likely response: "How did you know?" When you put words to what he feels without him having to say it, you create the deep recognition. This woman truly sees me. That moment of being profoundly understood builds an emotional bond that words alone can't create. And it's not about fixing anything. It's about witnessing him so clearly. He begins to feel safe in his own emotions. For most men, that level of emotional accuracy is rare, making it incredibly valuable. The science behind this is powerful. When a person feels deeply understood, their nervous system begins to calm. Their entire emotional state becomes more regulated. You're not just connecting, you're helping him process. But make no mistake, this requires real skill. It's not just guessing. You'll need to develop genuine observational awareness and emotional intelligence. Pay attention to micro-expressions. Notice subtle changes in posture. Listen for shifts in vocal tone. And practice. Start with close friends and family. Watch carefully. Then reflect. "You seem a little drained today." Or, "I can feel how excited you are about this." As your accuracy improves, your reflections become more powerful. But remember, the key is authenticity. You're not performing. You're not playing therapist. You're simply observing, connecting, and understanding with compassion, not control. And that's what makes this pattern so impactful. It's not manipulation. It's real empathy in motion. The deeper purpose behind emotional mirroring reaches far beyond the goal of creating attraction. It's actually about cultivating genuine empathy and emotional intelligence skills that will elevate the quality of every relationship in your life. You are becoming the kind of woman who truly sees others. And that ability to understand another human being on an emotional level is one of the most valuable qualities a person can ever develop. So how do you build this skill? Start by simply observing. Resist the urge to jump in or respond right away. Spend time watching how people express their emotions. Notice their body language. Study the small cues and behavioral patterns. Then, begin with basic reflections. You seem really tired today. Or, I can see you're genuinely excited about that. As your awareness grows, you'll become capable of offering more nuanced observations. But the foundation of this practice is always authentic observation, not performance. You're not guessing. You're not trying to control or impress. You're sincerely aiming to understand what this person is experiencing, and that level of realness. That's what makes emotional mirroring so powerful. This is not emotional theater. It's empathy brought to life. Pattern 4. Addressing the fear of inadequacy. Every man, in some shape or form, carries the fear of not being enough, not strong enough, not successful enough, not smart enough, not valuable enough. Whether this comes from ancient evolutionary wiring or modern social pressure, the fear of inadequacy is deeply embedded in masculine psychology. After you've established emotional connection through mirroring, you gain the ability to address this fear in ways that are remarkably effective. But here's the key. Instead of creating direct competition, which is the common trap, you take a more refined approach. Casually mention you have intriguing plans, upcoming meetings, or compelling invitations. If he asks for details, keep things pleasantly vague. Oh, just work things, you might say, while your energy hints that there's more beneath the surface. This subtle incongruence triggers his awareness. He starts filling in the blanks. Who is she meeting? What is she doing? Am I slipping from her focus? The real power lies in the sequence. First, make him feel emotionally seen and understood. Then, gently introduce a small dose of uncertainty around your availability. And no, this isn't about provoking insecurity. It's about affirming that you live a full, meaningful life, independent of romance. A woman with true interests, solid commitments, and vibrant connections outside of love naturally generates this effect without needing to calculate anything. Understanding the fear of inadequacy means recognizing just how common it really is. Even the most externally accomplished men often carry some version of imposter syndrome. They fear being found out, that underneath the confidence, they aren't quite enough. And this fear drives a range of confusing behaviors. The need to constantly appear confident, the refusal to ask for help, the tendency to get defensive at the slightest critique, the constant push to prove their worth through success. Instead of judging these behaviors, try understanding what's underneath them. This allows you to respond in ways that provide security while still honoring your own standards and boundaries. You're not here to fix his insecurities, but you can choose responses that don't unnecessarily trigger them. Practically, this means recognizing when his fear is activated and choosing to respond from wisdom. If he gets defensive after receiving feedback, you might say, "I can see this really matters to you," rather than pushing your point more forcefully. If he's boasting about achievements, acknowledge the effort without going overboard. The deeper lesson here is this: learn to look beneath the behavior. See the emotion behind the performance, the fear behind the bravado, the pain beneath the anger, the insecurity hidden within the arrogance. This ability allows you to engage with the real person, not just the mask he wears. Pattern 5. The need for admiration with challenge. Men crave admiration, but not the kind that feels blind, automatic, or unearned. They want to be seen for their authentic qualities, but they also yearn to be pushed, inspired, and challenged to grow. They need a woman who can be a sanctuary when they're vulnerable, but also a fire when they become stagnant. Here's the piece most people miss in moments of failure, self-doubt, or emotional collapse. How you respond in the first 30 seconds can change everything. It can be the difference between earning lifelong respect or watching it slip away. Most women panic when a man wavers. They become nervous. They overcompensate. They try too hard to reassure. But you become calm inside his chaos. Soften your voice. Relax your posture. Meet his eyes without flinching. And with unwavering presence, say something like, "I see your true worth. This moment doesn't define you." In that moment, your energy becomes his anchor. Your steadiness tells him, if she believes in me, maybe I'm still worth believing in. That calm confidence ignites something deep within him. It restores his sense of power, not through flattery, but because you are unshaken in your vision of who he truly is. You're not managing his emotions. You're not placating his ego. You're showing him the strength of your own center. And that is magnetic. Striking the right balance between admiration and challenge is delicate, but absolutely essential. Too much admiration without any challenge breeds complacency. Too much challenge without any admiration creates resentment. The sweet spot lies in offering genuine appreciation for who he is now, while gently encouraging him toward who he could become. Imagine you're a personal trainer, not for his body, but for his character. A good trainer celebrates current progress while still upholding high standards for future growth. They don't crush your spirit with impossible expectations, but they also don't allow you to stay stuck in mediocrity when you're capable of more. This means learning to see his actual potential, not the fantasy version of him you might secretly wish for, but the man he truly has the capacity to be, if he begins to fully activate the strengths he already possesses. That vision must be rooted in reality, not illusion. You're not trying to change his essence. You're simply drawing out the most authentic, elevated version of who he already is. In practice, this requires separating the man from his temporary behaviors. When he's struggling, respond to the deeper character beneath the moment. When he's succeeding, recognize the qualities and efforts that produced the success, not just the outcome itself. This way of relating demands emotional maturity. You must be grounded enough in yourself to stay calm during his emotional storms, wise enough to see potential that may not yet be fully visible, and strong enough to hold standards without sliding into control or criticism. At its core, this pattern is about mutual growth. By learning to respond to his highest potential, you also expand your own wisdom, discernment, and emotional presence. When you uphold your standards while still offering support, you create a relational dynamic that elevates you both. Pattern 6. Social presence and status awareness. Men are highly attuned to social dynamics, often more than they consciously realize. They take note of how you carry yourself in public spaces, how you interact with staff at a restaurant, how others respond to your presence in the room. If they sense authentic confidence radiating from you, their attraction intensifies. But if they detect insecurity, even subtle, their interest often fades. This isn't about pretending to be superior. It's about cultivating a genuine sense of feminine presence. Let your silence carry quiet authority. Let your words be few but meaningful. Move through spaces with natural grace. Never apologize for existing or taking up space. When you walk into a room, do so with calm assurance. For women who've nurtured true self-respect, this kind of presence emerges effortlessly. You're not performing high status. You simply live in alignment with your inner worth. And that self-contained energy makes him feel proud to be with you, because your presence reflects the quality of connection he's able to attract, whether it stems from cultural influence or deeper instincts. Men are often drawn to women who carry subtle, unspoken respect from their environment. But this doesn't mean being demanding, cold, or entitled. It means embodying the energy of someone who expects to be treated well, because she already treats herself with respect. True social presence isn't about designer labels, name-dropping, or putting others down to feel superior. It comes from an internal confidence and self-respect that naturally radiates outward. And this is reflected in the smallest of details: how you enter a room, how you make eye contact, how you speak to waitstaff, how you handle mistakes or inconveniences. All these micro-behaviors send a clear signal about your relationship with yourself, about your sense of belonging in the world. Developing that kind of presence is an inside job. It starts with one simple belief that you are worthy of kindness and respect. Once that belief is anchored, it flows into everything: how you move, how you speak, how you carry yourself. You don't have to demand respect. You simply expect it quietly because you already live it. Practically, this means watching how you behave in public. Do you apologize when it's not needed? Do you shrink to make others more comfortable? Do you fill silence out of nervousness? Start shifting those patterns. Move toward the woman you're becoming. And it doesn't stop with how you carry yourself. It extends to how you treat others. Real class isn't about status or superiority. It's about showing grace and respect regardless of who you're speaking to. The woman with true presence treats the CEO and the janitor with equal dignity. Because she understands something vital: people often treat you the way you treat yourself. As your self-respect deepens, the world begins to mirror that energy. More respect, more space, more consideration. Pattern 7. The accountability mirror. Men often make strong declarations about what they value. Can't stand dishonesty. Loyalty means everything to me. I always tell the truth. And yet, like all of us, they sometimes act in ways that contradict those words. Here's the key to this pattern. Pay attention to what he says he values, then hold space for that standard without aggression. When his actions don't align, calmly reflect his own words back to him. You said honesty is a top value for you. How does this behavior align with that? This isn't a trap, it's a mirror. One that invites him to face the gap between who he claims to be and what he's actually doing. And that moment of gentle confrontation, it creates what psychologists call cognitive dissonance, an internal tension that pushes him to reflect and reconcile his own behavior. Done correctly, this doesn't create distance, it creates depth. Because he realizes you're paying attention on a level most people never reach. And that kind of detailed awareness is both disarming and connective. This isn't about keeping score or delivering gotcha moments. It's about helping him rise to his own stated ideals. Because real intimacy isn't built on convenience. It's built on integrity. But to use the accountability mirror well, you must master tone and timing. Stay calm. Avoid accusations. Don't attack his character. Let your tone be one of curiosity, not judgment. You're not saying you're wrong. You're asking, how does this align with what you say matters to you? To develop this skill, listen carefully to what people declare as their values. Then observe their actions with clarity and neutrality. You're not searching for flaws. You're simply witnessing the space between aspiration and behavior. Most people have those gaps. The accountability mirror doesn't punish the gap. It makes it visible so growth becomes possible. And this too requires emotional maturity from you. You must be able to reflect patterns without overreacting emotionally. you must also be ready to apply the same mirror to yourself. Because you cannot ask others to live with integrity if you are unwilling to do the same. You must be willing to hold yourself to the same standard of accountability you expect from others. Because you can't authentically ask someone to live with integrity if you're unwilling to embody it yourself. The deeper purpose of this pattern is to build relationships grounded in true integrity, not shallow compatibility. And by encouraging honest alignment between values and actions, you're laying the foundation for a connection deep enough to endure life's inevitable challenges. Pattern 8. Authentic feminine energy. We live in a time where many women have become disconnected from their true feminine essence. They appear uncertain, constantly in need of validation, unclear about their own boundaries and personal standards. So when a man encounters a woman who is fully rooted in her feminine power, it's like a breath of fresh air. This energy isn't about submission, and it's certainly not weakness. It's elegant strength, the ability to be soft without collapsing, to be firm without hardness. It's a quiet presence that communicates. Without a single word, I expect excellence, and I don't need to explain why. For women who've reclaimed this kind of grounded femininity, that presence doesn't need to be performed. It arises naturally. You're not putting on a show. You're simply existing as a woman, fully at home in both her power and her softness, her independence and her openness. Whether it stems from biology or cultural imprinting, masculine energy is often awakened by this authentic feminine presence. It draws something deeper out of him. Not because she fits a traditional mold, but because she honors the unique way feminine energy moves through her. Understanding authentic femininity means letting go of outdated stereotypes. It's not about being passive, not about dependence, not about playing small. True feminine energy is creative. It's intuitive, is deeply powerful and connected to the flow of life itself. And it expresses differently in every woman. For some, it's nurturing and warm. For others, it's fierce and transformative. Some express it through art or creativity, others through leadership, healing, teaching, or quiet strength. The key is discovering your own version, not imitating someone else's. Reclaiming your feminine power often means healing from the double bind of modern culture. A culture that has simultaneously idealized and diminished femininity. Many women have learned to suppress their natural feminine qualities in order to succeed in masculine-driven spaces. And later, they feel lost, unsure how to access that energy in their intimate relationships. The development process begins with reconnection. With your body, with your intuition, with your creativity, with your capacity to be both powerful and vulnerable. It means learning to trust your own internal wisdom, rather than constantly seeking validation from the outside world. In practice, this might look like spending time in nature, creating art, meditating, dancing, or simply moving your body in a way that feels fluid and freeing. It means surrounding yourself with beauty, with inspiration, with spaces that remind you of who you truly are beneath all the noise. The deeper truth is this feminine energy is not the opposite of masculine energy. It's the complement. When you are rooted in your authentic feminine presence, you naturally call forth the highest, most grounded expression of masculinity in return. And that kind of polarity, that kind of balanced dynamic is deeply fulfilling for both people. Pattern 9. Unshakable. Self-worth. Perhaps the most transformative pattern of all is this: the unwavering commitment to your own self-respect. It means having firm, non-negotiable standards, and being fully willing to walk away from any dynamic, even with an incredible man if those standards are not honored. This shift is pivotal, because when you truly possess the inner strength to leave, when you don't need his approval or his presence to validate you, something profound happens. His respect for you multiplies. He recognizes, perhaps for the first time, that being close to you is not a given. It's a privilege, one that must be continually earned, not assumed. This realization changes the way he values you, in ways you may have never experienced before. And no, it's not a trick, not a strategy, not a game. It's simply what happens when a woman genuinely knows her worth and refuses to compromise her well-being for the sake of anyone's affection. Whether this level of self-respect is the result of life experience or inner wisdom, its effect is magnetic because it signals emotional health, it reflects maturity, and most importantly, it communicates that you're choosing him from a place of wholeness, not from a place of need, which makes the choice to love infinitely more powerful. That choice to love from a place of fullness makes everything more meaningful, because it's not coming from need, it's coming from clarity, power, and self-respect. Developing unshakable self-worth may be the most important work a woman will ever do, not only for the sake of her romantic life, but for every area that matters. Because this kind of self-worth becomes the foundation beneath all healthy relationships. It becomes the wellspring of true personal power. And it must be real. Not a performance, not a mask, but a deep, unshakable knowing of your intrinsic value. That you are worthy of love, respect, and kindness, not because of your achievements, your appearance, or your relationship status, but because you exist, because you are. Building this kind of foundation often means facing old wounds, challenging deep-seated beliefs that once told you you're not enough. It requires reprogramming the way you speak to yourself, the way you treat yourself when no one's watching. This journey may involve therapy or coaching, spiritual practices, or solitary reflection. It may call you into deep personal work, uncovering the unconscious ways you've been taught to devalue yourself, and gently transforming them in practice. Developing self-worth looks like setting clear boundaries and keeping them. It starts small, saying no to things that drain you, speaking up when someone disrespects you, choosing people and experiences that replenish you rather than deplete you. And as your sense of worth deepens, your standards rise naturally. You become more selective about who gets access to you and how they're allowed to treat you. This isn't about being difficult. It's not about being demanding. It's about knowing your worth and honoring it. And this shift doesn't just change romantic dynamics. It shifts everything. Your family starts treating you differently. Your friends do too. So do colleagues, and even strangers. Because how you treat yourself sets the tone. You're constantly teaching the world how to treat you with every word, every boundary, every moment of self-respect. And here's the paradox of self-worth in love. The more you genuinely don't need someone's validation or presence, the more powerfully attractive you become. Desperate energy repels, but calm, grounded, self-contained energy, it draws healthy people in. And this isn't a trick. It's not a strategy. It's a natural law of human behavior. Right now, you are standing at a threshold, a pivotal moment, a shift from old, unconscious cycles to conscious, powerful choice. You now hold what so many women spend lifetimes searching for. You see the deep psychological patterns that move you from the role of pursuer to being pursued, from being an option to becoming the priority, from forgettable to unforgettable. These 9 principles aren't just ideas. They're keys to authentic feminine power, a place where your presence alone commands attention, where your boundaries automatically create respect, where your love becomes something a man rises to earn through his own growth. But here's the truth. Knowing all this isn't enough. If it remains only in your mind, it changes nothing. Understanding without application is just intellectual noise. So ask yourself, are you ready to rise above who you've been taught to be and step into who you were born to become? Because in a world where so many women compete for scraps of attention, where settling for mediocrity is seen as normal, where too many accept less than what they truly deserve, the woman who knows her worth doesn't compete. She simply lives authentically. And healthy love rises to meet her. These aren't tricks. These aren't manipulations. They are principles of conscious attraction. They honor both the masculine and the feminine. And when applied with integrity, you don't just attract the love you want. You become the woman you were always meant to be. The journey won't always be smooth. There will be days when you embody these patterns with grace, and others when you fall back into old habits. That's okay. That's part of growth. What matters most is your commitment to the path, because every interaction becomes a chance to practice, a chance to deepen your understanding of human nature, a chance to claim your authentic power. This is not just about love. It's about who you become along the way. The women who master these patterns don't just find better relationships. They become magnetic leaders, trusted friends, respected colleagues, and radiant forces of transformation within their communities. Because these skills, they don't stop at romance. They expand into every part of life. Why? Because they're based on understanding human psychology and responding with wisdom instead of reactivity. Your conscious evolution begins the moment you choose to truly see yourself, to let the world see the woman you already are. The power, as it always has been, is in your hands. But here's what makes this moment unlike any other as you contemplate these truths. Another woman somewhere is already living them. She's already stepping into her power, already attracting the love she deserves. So the real question isn't whether these patterns work. Because human psychology follows universal principles, whether we notice them or not. The question is, will you use this understanding to build the life and relationship you truly desire? Remember, mastery doesn't come through perfection. It comes through practice. Start with the patterns that resonate most. Practice them. Watch what happens. Then slowly, steadily, integrate the rest until they become a natural part of who you are. This is a journey of becoming, not a destination to arrive at. As Joseph Campbell said, "The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek." Welcome to your authentic power. The world is waiting for the woman you're becoming, and the right man is searching for exactly the energy you're now learning to embody. Your transformation begins. Let this not just be something you watched, but something that begins to live quietly within you. If something in you stirred, stay close. Subscribe and return when the moment feels right.